Hello, Watchman of Ephraim. Another Donald Trump, last president of the United States. Exclamation point. Question mark. Things seem to be unraveling at almost breakneck speed. Concerning this person and what he witnesses, of course, let the spirits be tested. So, is Donald Trump the last president of the United States, or, as I have witnessed continually, Ephraim, the greatest Israeli nation out of the 12, 13 tribes of Israel, receiving double fruit? That's what Ephraim means, double fruit, concerning the birthright blessings of Abraham passed down through to Jacob, or Israel's two sons. Let my name be named on the lads. My name, my father Isaac and Abraham. And let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. I know, my son, I know. He too shall be a people, and he shall be great, Great Britain. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and he shall become the fullness of the nations, or full, a multitude of the nations. Of what? The earth. Is Donald Trump, Big Don, the last president of the United States? Now, this is a continuing series, and things are just, well, in my corner. We just slide on down here. Let me bring your attention to this. This is on the Drudge report. Drudge hates Trump. Puts a lot of liberal-leaning articles on here. Supposedly Drudge is conservative himself. I don't know if he is anymore. I don't know. Anyways, he hates Trump. Used to like him. They had a falling out, and of course they're enemies now. Notice in the red, EU, South America create free trade zone. Canada leans toward China concerning trade. And under here, Trump pushing the world away. I don't even know what I'm going to read here, but I've got some articles concerning this. This is the big one here. I want you to pay attention to EU South America create free trade zone. Might as well get into it. European Union and Mercosur bloc of South American nations signed landmark free trade agreement. So they've been working on this for over 25 years. And yesterday they signed it. And a lot of that has to do with Trump and his tariffs, which he is threatening once again to the EU concerning Greenland. If this continues to go in the way that I think it's going, well, you're going to get a lot of, basically with the law, the restitution of all things. I have teachings that are deeper than, I'm not bragging, concerning those things than anybody. You can throw me up against Martin Zender. I'll run circles around him concerning the restitution of all things. Concerning the law, I'll debate any Torah keeper. I'll hit them with things they were never hit with before. I wouldn't be the typical Orthodox guy they normally debate. Anyways, So landmark free trade agreement signed Saturday. Why is this going on? Let me pull up the map here. Why all of a sudden, let me just see if I can beef this up a little bit. Why all of a sudden is Europe and Latin America, South America, why are they bonding here concerning free trade? Well, this is what I believe is going to be the bulk of this last beast. Actually, this eighth beast that's going to emerge in the latter days, which will have no woman riding on it. Because you're going to have a beast, an antichrist, that's going to be running this thing, and he's going to want direct worship. And he's not going to have any desire for women. What's a woman symbolic in the Bible? Well, a religious organization, a church, so to speak. But why in these last days is Latin America, South America, why are they forming an economic bond with the EU? Well, again, this is what most Roman Catholic continent on the planet. Mexico, Roman Catholic. All these Latin American nations, Roman Catholic. The bulk of Europe, well, much of Europe, Italy, Rome, Roman Catholic. So I'll get into reading some verses here in a little bit. So let me try to find this here again. Okay. So the European Union and the Mercosur bloc of South American countries formally signed a long-sought free trade agreement on Saturday, strengthening commercial ties, now notice, in the face of rising protectionism and trade tensions around the world. The signing ceremony in Paraguay's capital caps more than a quarter century of torturous negotiations. So this has been going on for 25 years, and I've been reporting on it from time to time. It marks a major geopolitical victory for the EU in an age, now notice, of American tariffs and surging Chinese exports, expanding the bloc's foothold in a resource-rich region increasingly contested by Washington and Beijing. So it's Europe's getting its foothold in this resource-rich region. Okay, Spain, Spanish. Okay, if you followed me years ago, since 2008, 2013, I started a YouTube channel. Okay. Didn't really know what I was doing. Was just, well, anyways. Hispal and Hispanis, sons and grandsons of Esau. Latin America, South America, is just an extension of Spain and Portugal. Esau. Why is the beast of Revelation red? Why is it red? Why does it have a fallen woman riding on it? Why is it red? Why is Europe and the United States, why is why is NATO about to break up? Notice what the German Chancellor said. EU-US relationship is disintegrating, says Germany's Vice Chancellor. All right, Friedrich Merz, I'll probably butcher some names here, has been cautious in responding to Trump's Greenland rhetoric. Lars Klingbeil, excuse me for butchering it if I did, is taking a farther hard line. So this German Vice Chancellor has assailed U.S. President Donald Trump for his rhetoric on Greenland and actions in Venezuela, saying the situation is worse than politicians like to admit. All right. The comments lay bare divisions inside Germany's governing coalition over how to handle Washington as transatlantic tensions mount. The transatlantic alliance is undergoing much more profound upheaval than we may have been willing to admit until now. Change is hard, but it's coming to an end. Let the spirits be tested. Klingbeil, sorry if I mispronounced it, said Wednesday, in view of Trump's assertion that the U.S. needs control over Greenland, as well as the U.S. administration's decision to deploy its military to seize Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Let me just click out of that. Okay, so we have this agreement, and a lot of it has to do with they're going to wall out the United States. Mercosur consists of the region's two biggest economies, Argentina and Brazil, as well as Paraguay and Uruguay, Bolivia, and the bloc's newest member. Okay. So the whole thing isn't in yet, but we'll see how it goes. All right. It reflects a clear and deliberate choice. We choose fair trade over tariffs. We choose a productive long-term partnership over isolation. Donald Trump wants America first. He's not a globalist. People who think he's going to be the Antichrist, or he is the Antichrist, who's going to be ruling over much of the earth, not all the earth. That's just biblical hyperbole. That probably needs to be a video or a teaching down the road too. Will the Antichrist have dominion over the whole earth? No. That's biblical hyperbole. Figurative language. Okay. I might come back to this. I just threw this up this morning. There's just so many things going on. German industry lashes out at Trump's ludicrous demands. So now he's going to slap more tariffs on the EU over this thing with Greenland. German industry reacted with anger on Sunday to U.S. President Donald Trump's planned use of tariffs to crank up the pressure on Denmark to sell Greenland, calling on Europe not to cave to his demands. Trump has vowed to implement a wave of increasing tariffs on European allies until the U.S. is allowed to buy the strategically important island, expanding a trade war days before the EU's parliament is set to vote on tariff cuts. If the EU gives in here, it will only encourage the U.S. president to make the next ludicrous demand and threaten further tariffs. So they're calling for a unified response from the European Union. Okay. So you're seeing this NATO alliance that's 80 years old beginning to disintegrate. Why? Well, we're getting to the point, to the time of Jacob's trouble. We're almost into the third millennium. Okay, Independent. Trump Greenland latest. U.S. accused of blackmail over tariff threat ahead of emergency EU meeting. The Netherlands. Foreign minister has accused Trump of blackmail after he threatened to impose new tariffs on European allies until they agree to sell Greenland to the U.S. It's blackmail, what he's doing. And it's not necessary. It doesn't help the alliance, NATO, and it also doesn't help Greenland. David Van Weel, excuse if I mispronounced it, said in an interview on Dutch television. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said 10% of tariffs would come into effect on February 1st, so he's going to impose and higher tariffs on Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK. Keep this in mind, Germany, the UK, and the Netherlands and Finland. These are all Israel nations, by the way. Keep in mind the UK. Because Ephraim and Manasseh are prophesied to what? Devour one another, to become enemies of one another, and together they shall be against Judah. Hit back at Trump. Europe mulls unthinkable options as Greenland threats ramp up tensions. Senior politicians want the EU to deploy its trade bazooka against the United States over Trump's Greenland claims. Capitals aren't so sure. Why is this all going on right now? Well, the thing that has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. So probably from here on in, the bulk of this YouTube channel is going to be dealing with prophecy, dealing with world events, shifting back. I'll probably be reading a lot of articles because I'm not a minister. I don't have all day to search this stuff out. I still work a full-time job. Donald Trump's decision to slap tariffs on countries that have shown support for Greenland is pushing transatlantic relations to a breaking point as EU leaders contemplate ways of retaliating against Washington that until now have been unthinkable. What's one of the things they can do that would destroy our currency? Drop the US dollar as world reserve currency status. Dump our bonds. Relations between Washington and Europe have been rocky for months as the U.S. president has wavered on support for Ukraine, pressured EU countries into accepting a lopsided trade deal, and forced NATO allies to massively ramp up their spending on defense. They did this because they were afraid of the United States pulling out of NATO. But now, as Trump ramps up his claim on Greenland, sparking protests over the weekend in the streets of Nuuk, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Copenhagen, European leaders are facing increasingly loud calls to drop their softly approach and prepare for confrontation. Why? The fact that Trump has triggered his tariffs just after the EU signed a major trade deal with Latin American countries is only deepening the sense of resolve among some Europeans. So they're shifting from what? The U.S. to who? Who are they shifting? They're shifting away from the United States. Lay that up. Shifting away from America, which is hostile to them, U.S. And who are they shifting now more towards? They just signed a free trade agreement. What's going on here? 700 million people. A trading bloc of 700 million people. Roman Catholic. What's going on here? Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, "Come, I will show you," now notice, "the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication," her religion. You talk about a blasphemous religion. All these wicked doctrines like eternal torture. The masses have been made drunk with these doctrines that just blaspheme the Creator. So he carried me away in the Spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet or red beast. Why is the beast red? Why is the beast red? There are over 800 allusions in Revelation, pointing back to the Torah, the prophets, and the Psalms. Why is the beast red? What does Edom mean? Red. Red hair, hairy, red hairy body. All right? Jacob, Esau. Okay, you're going to have the 2 brothers playing it out in the womb. This is not, I remember going into the doctors when I was a little boy, 5, 6, 7 years old, and they always had Bible storybooks, next to the waiting chairs in the waiting room, on these desks or whatever, next to you. And they have cute, cuddly little babies and little children. Jacob and Esau. Oh, look at them hugging and snuggling. Look at the little babies. Just not, the children's storybooks. Oh no, my friends. You're going to see the 2 brothers playing it out in the womb for dominance. The time of the mourning of my father, after the days of his mourning are over, I'm going to kill my brother Jacob. See, the hostility has never ceased. Who had the dominion first? Ephraim, USA. Multitude of nations. Spain, Esau. Who had the dominion first? Who grew to be a great empire first in the latter days? The Spanish. But who usurped, who took the birthright away in 1588, beginning in 1588 in the Battle of the Spanish Armada. The older brother, who became great first? It was Great Britain. Who's the younger brother? Who's the multitude of nations? He too shall be a people, and he shall be great. His name bears it, Great Britain. But truly his younger brother, the 13th tribe, why did the United States start out with 13 colonies? Why did the flag have the original 13 stars? The original flag have 13 stars. Why does the Great Seal of the United States have the number 13 all over it? Why does it say E pluribus unum? Out of many, Latin, out of many, one. Hidden in plain sight, out of many nations, one great superpower nation. See, this is what I have to shift back to. Because things are unraveling at breakneck speed. The number 13 is all over the United States. Look at the Great Seal of the United States on the dollar bill. 13 arrows, 13 olive leaves, 13 olives, 13 stripes on the shield, 13 stars above the head of the eagle with the cloud, which is the Shekinah glory of God. There's one star above all the other stars, and there's one star below Judah and Ephraim, the two lead tribes. Okay. These are not cute little cuddly brothers. They hate each other. There's animosity. Why do you think Latin Americans are pushing up into the United States in the latter days? Why do you think Mexico's repopulating the southwestern United States and the Florida and the South California and Arizona and all that? They want their land back. All right? Trump's trying to push back, but the economy goes, well, you just might have them just pour up. And I'll get to that in a minute or two. But again, why is Europe? Why are these two countries? Why are these two, this nation and Europe? And why is Trump always picking on Germany the most? No. Well, let the spirits be tested here. Okay? You're going to have two brothers in the womb struggling. This one's going to get it. Just to skip down here. Okay. Well, let me hit this first. Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had huge iron teeth. Iron, the Iron Age. Who were the masters of the Iron Age? Assyria. Now notice, it was devouring and breaking in pieces and trampling the residue with its feet. Now notice, it was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. It was different. It was diverse from all the other ones. Why? Notice too, unclean beasts, Gentiles, outside the realm, they're unclean. And this is, unclean beasts, like what do they do? They're killers, they're murderers, they're meat eaters. If we went down even further, Ezekiel 35, moreover, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir, this red beast. That's Esau, and prophesy against it, and say to it, Thus says Yahweh God, Behold, O Mount Seir, that was Esau's territory south of Israel. If we shrunk this ancient kingdom, notice to the south, Edom. Okay? To the south of Israel, to the south of Ephraim. Who lies to the south of Ephraim? Esau. He wants his birthright back. Behold, O Mount Seir, O Esau, I will stretch out my hand against you and make you most desolate. I shall lay your cities waste, and you shall be desolate. Then you shall know that I am Yahweh, because you have had an ancient hatred, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel. By the power of the sword at the time of their calamity. This is the great tribulation. This is Jacob's trouble. This is the Damascus oracle. When their iniquity came to an end. Why is the United States buddies with Syria? Of all nations in these last days. Therefore, as I live, says Yahweh God, I will prepare you for blood. Again, let me go back here. Shed the blood of the children of Israel. Why does this beast and this woman get punished? Because they've shed the blood of the saints, the prophets, and all those who were slain on the earth. Why is Esau red? Well, he's associated with blood. He's a hunter. Therefore, as I live, says Yahweh God, I will prepare you for blood, and the blood shall pursue you, and blood shall pursue you. The avenger of blood is coming. That's why in Isaiah 64, Revelation 19, he's coming back and his garments are splattered with blood. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate. They're going to be as they never were. Obadiah. And cut off from it the one who leaves and the one who returns. And I will fill its mountains with the slain on your hills and in your valleys and in all your ravines. Those who are slain by the sword shall fall. Notice, because you have said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess them. Who's he talking about? Which two nations and two countries is he talking about? Ephraim and Judah. During the day of the Lord in the Battle of Armageddon, the Battle of the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Who got it first? House of Israel. Who got it second? Later. Judah. 722 Israel. 686 Judah. Actually beginning in 606. Okay. The thing that has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. There's nothing new under the sun. Verse 15, then he said to me, the waters which you saw where the harlot sits, this red beast sitting on a scarlet-colored beast, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Okay, she's sitting on many waters, many nations. Wherever you find the woman sitting, that's where you're going to find this beast kingdom. It's going to be diverse. Why are they moving away from the U.S. and now going with Latin America, South America? You're seeing Bible prophecy unfold. Let the spirits be tested. Who is the EU once again? They should know who they are, but you have millions of mainstream Roman Catholics, Protestants. They think they are the church, so they have a giant blind spot. Europa riding a beast. Europe riding a beast. Riding Zeus to Crete. They should know who they are. In front of an EU headquarter building. Europa riding a beast. There's an EU coin. Europa riding a beast. Thing that has been is what will be. Riding a beast. Thing that has been. Is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. Same with the United States, Ephraim. Once again. Why are we in Syria in these last days? Why are we breaking away from the EU? Why is the NATO alliance breaking up? Yeah, look at Ephraim. Doesn't it look like the United States? New England, Great Lakes, Florida, Gulf of Mexico or America, Texas, West Coast here. Okay. And if you, Dan, because there's more Danites, Denmark, Ireland, than there is in those countries in the United States. But if we even took the U.S., you have kind of like the Gulf of California or whatever, the peninsula of California, and you have the West Coast here, you got Texas, you got the Gulf here, Florida. So you just see the thing that has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay? Let the spirits be tested. Things are really seem to be unraveling at breakneck speed. The red beast. God's going to use that red beast. Germany, Assyria, Amalek, Esau, to punish, beginning with the Great Tribulation, Jacob's trouble. Okay? So let the spirits be tested. Is there anything else I left out here? Okay. The woman riding the beast. Look in the middle of Vatican Square. There's an obelisk. You know what that is, actually? An Asherah pole. That's a human male organ. That's why she has the cup full of, abominations and filthiness. Mixing truth with error. What's going to happen to this woman? Why are these countries going to line up? What's this beast, what's this Antichrist going to do? The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. These are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them. Notice, and the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these will hate the harlot, make her desolate and naked, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. No desire for women. Is it Daniel 11, verse 37? I do believe. 36, 37, around there. All right. Let the spirits be tested. Did I leave anything out? Okay. Okay, well, that's all for this update. I might do one tomorrow morning on the 2 witnesses. Have a little bit of... Anyways. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.